Welcome to this explainer. Listen, as a veteran female educational leader, I know firsthand that leading a school or a district can honestly feel like trying to conduct a symphony while the stage is completely on fire. It is a beautiful, beautiful chaos. But today, we're going to talk about mastering that chaos. We're diving into structuring innovation, project management for educational leaders, and I am absolutely thrilled to share these highly effective, game-changing strategies with you.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to quickly cover the leadership challenge, the paradigm shift, the core components, the project lifecycle, and finally, structuring true innovation. Let's get right into it.
But, before we get into the modern tactics, I want to share some timeless wisdom from Aristotle. He basically said, first, have a definite, clear, practical ideal. Second, have the necessary means to achieve your ends. And third, adjust all your means to that end. I love starting here because it just perfectly validates our daily struggle, right? We all have these grand, inspiring visions for education, but we're constantly trying to align those visions with the really harsh practical realities of shrinking resources. All right, Section 1, the Leadership Challenge. Let's talk about navigating this chaos. Picture Mrs. Ghislaine's reality for a second. As a district leader, she was abruptly tasked with balancing 5 new curriculums, 10 professional learning sessions, and the urgent, absolute critical need to improve outcomes for multilingual learners. That is incredibly overwhelming, especially when funding is getting cut, initiatives feel completely disjointed, and as a result, critical student groups are inadvertently getting left behind. We really have to acknowledge this very real, often chaotic reality before we can even begin to change it. But here is our way out. Collaborative project planning is the absolute key to taking meaningful action. The reality is, the only way to solve complex educational challenges, like the whole mountain of work Miss Ghislaine faced, is by getting out of our silos and doing the hard work together. I mean, we simply cannot support our diverse learners if the special education, language, and general ed teams are all working in total isolation.
Which brings us to Section 2, the paradigm shift. It's time for a new perspective.
To really collaborate, we have to rethink things. What actually is a project? Well, it's a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result, characterized by a distinct beginning and end. This definition is so important because it helps us differentiate between actionable, structured initiatives and the abstract, never-ending daily operations we all deal with. Things like answering a massive mountain of emails, managing discipline, or surviving afternoon bus duty in the pouring rain. Projects actually have an end date.
Okay, Section 3, the core components. This is the structural heart of our work.
Get this, over 70% of projects fail because leaders struggle to balance 3 critical constraints. We're talking about scope, time, and cost. Your scope represents your actions and objectives. Time is your schedule and deliverables. And cost, well, that's your budget. When we as leaders learn how to balance this triple constraint, we can successfully handle massive, intimidating projects with our eyes constantly locked on the results. So where do you actually begin? With the project charter. This is your bedrock. Before any real work gets underway, you have to establish a shared understanding of the problem you're trying to solve across all stakeholders. This foundational document outlines your rationale, scope, timeline, budget, project members, and final deliverables. It literally ensures everyone, from the superintendent down to the classroom teacher, is on the exact same page. And once that charter is good to go, you build the actual project plan. This is the whole shebang. It encompasses everything from scope management and budget monitoring, all the way down to risk mitigation and quality control. Honestly, think of these components as your safety nets. They keep your initiative on track and ensure you never lose sight of how this intense work directly impacts your diverse learners and your hardworking teachers on the front lines.
Moving right along to Section 4, the project lifecycle. How do we take this from an idea to a reality?
It really boils down to 5 sequential phases: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and finally closing. And I just want to encourage you here, having this step-by-step methodology drastically reduces the cognitive load on your team. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and figure out how to manage the work every single time. You simply trust and follow the phases. Let's ground this in a real-world example, like managing a district professional development project. In the initiating phase, you'd examine content and language data. During planning, you define your scope and pricing options. For executing, you're managing the actual logistics of the learning sessions. To monitor and control, you reflect on observation and achievement data. In closing, that means intentionally archiving your assets and lessons learned. This isn't just bureaucratic paperwork. This is exactly how you create professional development that actually shifts teacher practice and helps multilingual learners thrive.
And that leads us to our final section, Section 5, Structuring True Innovation, the ultimate reward.
Because when it comes down to it, effective project management literally transforms chaotic educational mandates into structured innovation, which leads to tangible, real-world improvements in student achievement. Utilizing these tools empowers you to actively shape your school's culture instead of just constantly playing defense and reacting to change. When you build structure around the work, you're actually creating the bandwidth for true creativity to flourish.
So, I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with a challenge. What project could be developed to address the specific challenge your organization is facing right now? Whether it's launching an after-school program or a massive district-wide curriculum overhaul, you now have the structural blueprint to make it happen. The chaos probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but your ability to manage it, that just completely changed. Thank you so much for joining me today on this explainer.